Anita, how's your mental health?
Questionable at all times. You know this.
Yeah, how's the mental health of your children?
Also a little bit tricky. Can I tell you my experience in trying to find therapists for myself and my kids, Mel?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how it goes. You ask around your friends and your family for a referral for somebody who's nearby. You finally find somebody who sounds like they might work for your family. You give them a call and you find out that A, they're not accepting new patients, or B, they have a huge wait list. So you start over again and you ask people if they know anybody who would be a good therapist and a good fit. Finally, you find one, you go and you meet with them, and you figure out that you don't actually like them that much. But it's been so much work to find somebody who you can go to in your area that you're kind of stuck with them. Well, do you have any ideas for how to get around this?
I do because guess what? I've actually had some therapists that I have found on my own, which involves what you're saying. Sometimes I remember one time I was like 3 hours in the bathtub on my phone looking
Yeah.
through websites. I was such a prune at the end. But I have also had the experience with working with BetterHelp. And it was like, I don't want to say too good to be true, but because it is true, but it's like amazing because I was matched with my therapist within 24 hours.
And you didn't have to go through all of that other ridiculous process of trying to find somebody. And here's the cool thing too, is if that person didn't work out for you, you can just switch and say, and it's not like you're committing to another years long search for somebody who you're going to jive with.
It's true. And I lucked out, or maybe just BetterHelp is really good at matching people together because I never had to change my therapist. I loved her. Perfect fit for me. And I know that some of our friends have used BetterHelp and they've had to change therapists, and boom, same day, you can change.
Easy peasy.
You can ghost your therapist. Get a new one.
I love this idea. BetterHelp is one of our sponsors. If you use our promo code trybetterhelp.com/WWDN, you get 10% off your first month, and we totally recommend it.
Yes, get some therapy. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. Anita, please don't hate me today.
I hate everybody today, so I'm trying not to hate you too.
What did I do?
Nothing. You just exist in this stupid world.
Okay. Is there any way that you could just not be mad at me, but then hate everybody else?
Yeah, I'll try. Whatever. I think it's rough that we record these on Sunday because I hate Sundays. Is there anybody who's with me on this? Weekends are stupid, and Sundays are especially stupid for me because those were the days that were like family days for us. And so now it's just like a big fat reminder of how stupid life is.
So maybe we should record this on Friday?
Yeah, or any other day because I hate Sunday. And so people listening to this podcast probably think I'm always super grumpy. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you are. So.
That's not true. Sometimes I'm not grumpy. Like Wednesday at 10 a.m.
When you ride bikes.
Yes, actually, that is true.
Okay, Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have to start recording this portion.
Okay.
For my mental health.
So that you don't feel hated.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hate you, Mel.
Yes. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, I had a weird weekend. It was funny. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they do this in other parts of the country, but in Utah, when rec centers are going to drain their pools, their outdoor pools, they open it up to the dogs.
Woof.
So we participated. It was the most exhausting thing that I've ever been to with my dogs in my life.
Why was it so exhausting?
Okay, the thing that we went to, I think some places they cap the entry, like have 50 dogs. But this one was just like any dog, any size, all of them all at the same time. So it was just chaos of dogs running around, and some dogs were swimming in the pool, jumping off the diving board, biting other dogs, peeing other dogs. And then the owners, there's a whole lot of energy there. But it was actually really fun. And then I had to take like a 4-hour nap after.
Wow. They do that at the pool I swim at before they do like their cleaning, but they do it by size of dog. So I've never actually witnessed the dog melee.
Yeah, I was going to go to that one, but they were sold out.
Ah, I see.
And this other one that I went to, they had the deep end of the pool because it was like the full Olympic-sized swimming pool. So I wanted one of my dogs to be able to swim because he loves swimming. So the other one was kind of like splash pad toddler pool. So that was what I did this weekend. And then I had 3 migraines.
Ew.
How about you? Let's not talk about it. Okay.
Well, I have a question for you, so I do want to talk about it. Do you ever in your brain just go down the rabbit hole of feeling like you're an imposter and you're doing a terrible job and everybody's like, you're doing such a good job, and you're like, you don't know. Like, I'm not good at anything. I'm bad parent. Well, you don't ever think that, obviously, but like,
I'm the worst parent. I have no kids.
Or the best parent. Just thinking like, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I'm not even good at podcaster. You know, there's bigger groups who are helping more people, and you just start to like really feel bad about yourself. Do you ever do that?
Anita, that's a lot of things that you think that you're bad at. I gotta say, don't feel that I'm bad at all the elements in my life, but I would say maybe earlier in my life, yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, let's talk about it. Doing a podcasting thing is a new thing for you. You've not been doing it as a career for a really long time. So it's normal to feel that way with those things. And I think don't all parents feel like they're imposters?
I don't know.
All the time?
Well, I think they think it's hard, but I just feel like if you open that door a little bit, then it starts snowballing. And you're like, well, I'm bad at that too. And I'm bad at this. And, you know, I can't even do that right. And blah, 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 blah. And pretty soon I'm a mess.
Do we need to get you a life coach?
No.
Do we need to get you a therapist?
I think we need to get some chocolate.
Okay. I think that would fix it. And then I'll check back with you Wednesday at 10.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great.
But for real, though, I think it's easy when you're already in a downward spiral and things just seem like they are kicking you down. If your thinking is already in the looking for the negative and like looking for evidence at why you're not succeeding, totally a snowball. And I know that the times where I've gotten in kind of those things are, it's just like I can't even pull myself out because it is like you said, like a snowball or an avalanche. So it's tough. And especially like where you're at the weekend right now, and weekends are always hard. And so it's always on your mind. Like, Jason's not here. We used to have things this way. Now it's not. Like, I see why.
Right.
You are in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Sorry if that didn't make you feel better, but I see you.
Thank you. I guess that other people do that too, but then I'm like, and I know I shouldn't be doing that to myself. And then I'm like, you're bad at judging yourself too. And so it's just like, you know, it's like you can't catch a break. But
well, Anita, can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
I cut you off on purpose.
Okay.
Because I think you're killing it. And that doesn't help you. But it's like your kids are still in your house living. You're doing it every day. You're showing up. You are there. That's how I see you winning. And I know you don't feel like it because you want to be like feeling like you have your head above water. Mm-hmm. And you probably don't feel like that. From outside, it looks like you do have it together, even though you're like
all
drowning.
That matters is that I appear like things are going well-ish.
Right. Yeah. You like, if you smile, then everyone's like, oh, Anita's fine. Mm-hmm. Nothing's wrong. But you show up to the podcast.
This is true.
You're really helping a lot of people. We get a lot of amazing comments in our group from people that we do know that it's helping really a lot. Like comments like, this is saving my life. And so you're contributing to that. And so I just want to point that out to you, that you are making a difference, even though you don't feel it in your body and in your brain. And maybe on Wednesday at 10, you'll feel a little differently. But for right now, I see you.
Okay.
And it's okay that you feel how you feel. You're like, shut up, I want to punch you.
I can't because you're on Zoom. No, I don't want to punch you. Ironically, earlier in the week, I was starting to feel like things were normalizing. I was like, you know what? I think that we're on a good track. You know, like it's taken us almost 3 years to feel like maybe we can start living life a little more normally. And then it's like, boom, that was not true, Anita. You're terrible at everything. So it's okay. I'm going to get over it. Let's not spend our whole podcast talking about that.
Don't worry. It's only been 8 minutes and 19 seconds. It's not that long.
Okay, good.
Okay, everybody. Remember last week when we talked about we are in phase 1 of starting in-person meetups. You know that we're widows and we're working on getting this together in a timely manner. And sometimes we're a little slow. But please join the Widow Wives Club. Please sign up for the newsletter, because when you join the Widow Wives Club and you sign up for the newsletter, which you can get by filling out the survey that Anita has posted in the Widow Wives Club, or going to our website, widowwedonow.com, which BT dubs, Anita did the whole website. So I just want to say you're not failing, because that website is killer. Eek. You can sign up for the newsletter, and that's where we're going to have information, because now we're starting to grow and we've got to find the best ways so that we can streamline facilitating these and to find people who need these in-person meetups. So please keep an eye on your email. We've been doing newsletters kind of every week, sometimes every other week. It depends on if we can get our act together. It will be coming out today. So sign up for that, and then you'll be in the know and kind of help us to get those started. And if you need one in your area, you're welcome to reply to the newsletter. It'll go to our email and we'll help you from there. So we're really excited about these new things coming up for our friends and our fellow widows and widowers. So stay tuned.
Also, if you want to help keep the podcast going, we welcome you to join our Patreon. It's patreon.com/WWDN. It's just a way to support creators, podcasts, artists, musicians. So check that out if you want to support the podcast. We have 4 different tiers.
The Tears of the Widow.
The Tears of the Clown.
The Tears of Anita on Sunday nights.
We're going to do our Patreon shout out for our
Widow, Besties, and Up. So if you join our Patreon, one of the perks at a certain level and up is you get a shout out in episode. And this begins now.
We'll start with a shout out for our secret dead husband, who says, "Don't cry out loud." Next, we have Constance Dahlbach.
David Kelly, thank you for the unicorn.
And licorice. David sent a lot of black licorice. It's been great. Dawn. Okay, next we have Dawn Satterwhite.
Gail Paxton.
Ivan the Misner.
Kat.
Krista Wait.
And our widow wife, Amy.
Amy Sapp.
Ashley Hahn.
Christina Shiflett.
Danielle Catterberg.
Jenny Taylor.
Not a Debbie Downer.
Dennis Brazo.
Jennifer Brown. Welcome.
Jenny Wang.
Kathy Murray.
Spooky Scary Kirsten.
Move-in day is nigh. Leslie Webb.
Missy Schubert. Hey, I need your skills.
Rachel Barbosa.
Sarah Morris.
My mom.
The Winehouse Karen Cornejo.
Vicky Spit. The widow of... What is it again? Crap! Kirchhoff.
Yes, okay.
Yes!
Anna Tracy.
The widow bestie. Christina Scambato.
Christine Anderson.
Mindy Holmgren.
Dawn Barber.
Debbie Fells.
Diana Becker.
Emily Thornton.
Emily Toledo.
Aaron Posick.
Gabe Lozano.
Ian Sini.
Ileana Bell Ruiz.
Jackie, who does not get a clever shout out because it landed on my turn to speak. I'm sorry, Jackie.
My mom.
Jenny Barrow.
Jocelyn Milo.
Fancy Lady Joy Kirsch.
Karina Jacobo.
Katie Radcliffe.
Kara Scara.
Lori Farrington.
Marie Hoffman.
Who
wrote the most amazing tribute. And I have to say that I was feeling really down, and then I read that, and then I was like, oh, we are helping people.
Thank you, Marie.
It was in the Widow Wives Club. Join the Widow Wives Club.
Yeah. Marjorie Lewis.
Mary McGowan.
Peter Rukavina.
Sarah Kennedy.
Shannon Helm.
Sunshine Haven and Disco.
Tammy Schwartz.
Tara Wallace.
Valerie Packer. And Clown Tears Wendy.
Whoa-hoo, boo-hoo.
in honor of Anita.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you want to join our Patreon, like I said, it's patreon.com/WWDN. If you want to just send us to buy some tacos,
go to buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonoww.
I had a taco miracle this week wherein a taco truck appeared right where I was, and I ate a taco and it was delicious. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yes.
When you feel bad about your life, I want you to remember that moment.
That I was blessed from above with a taco truck.
Listen, don't you think that like in the Bible, manna from heaven was like tacos raining from heaven?
Probably. I mean.
Or grilled cheese.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Or combo. Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. Shall we get to our episode?
Yes'm.
Let's do it. I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
We're just two young widows hoping we're making a difference. Trying to figure out.
Widow, we do now.
This episode is brought to you by the Misner Family Foundation in memory of Elisabeth Misner. Sometimes we assume that unless we had a huge life insurance payout, we don't really need to know anything about investments or even finances. But guess what? A little knowledge of finances is critical for all of us. Maybe your partner was in charge of that stuff, and now you find yourself making all the decisions. Maybe you're mad about that. Maybe I am. Nicole from the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast is here to help. She tackles financial literacy by telling the stories of women and widows and finance experts and shares the lessons they've learned as certified financial planners. Whether you know a lot and feel confident in your financial decisions or feel unsure about all of that stuff, there is more to learn. Listen and subscribe to the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast on all podcast platforms. This ad was paid for by Rockhouse Financial, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Anita!
Mel!
Wow. What? Kay, why are you so excited right now?
I'm always excited. You know this. Every week, I'm like, we have a special guest, and they're always special, and this one's special too.
They just keep getting more and more special. Everyone's special.
Specialer and specialer.
Well, who do we have today?
Today, we have my good friend who I just met 3 minutes ago, Brandon Janous. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, thank y'all so much for having me. I don't know that I'm specialer than the last, but I appreciate you guys saying that to me. I don't know who was the last, but I don't want them to feel bad. So
No.
Whoever it was, I'm not more special or more specialist than you.
Everybody's special together.
Yes, I appreciate you guys having me.
Everyone is unique and special in their own unique way.
That's right. That's right.
Brandon, tell us where you're recording from.
So I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we've been here a couple years now and just love it. All my family's here and it's home.
Did you grow up in Knoxville?
I didn't. I grew up in Texas and then St. Louis and then lived in Arizona and Hawaii and here and there and a motorhome we talked about before we pressed record. We lived in a motorhome for a year. And so, but we always kind of figured we'd be here. My dad's whole family's here. And this was kind of where home was going to be one day. And so this is home for now.
Just when you threw in that y'all, I was like, this is somebody who grew up in the South.
That's right. That's right. A lot of y'all's coming at you.
I love it so much.
You have lived a lot of places. That is a fun life, and you must know lots of good restaurants in all of those locations.
I love food and I love restaurants. And so, yes, I do. So any recommendations you need, I am for sure your guy when it comes to that.
Okay, best Texas barbecue and best Tex-Mex in Phoenix.
Oh, in Phoenix. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that's a really good question.
What if you didn't live in Phoenix?
I lived in Tucson. I lived in Tucson.
I mean, okay,
But,
in Tucson then.
But no, there's one in Phoenix. Oh, I'm going to have to hit you offline because there was one in Phoenix that rocked my world. But that was 20 years ago. So you got to give me some grace.
Okay.
I'm old.
We'll get
And
to
so-
that later then.
Okay. Sounds good.
Brandon, you are unfortunately in the Widow Club with us. We are so sorry that you're here even though we're stoked that you're talking to us. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Will you tell us a little bit about Rachel and your life together and what brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for asking about her. And what a cool fraternity this is, though. Like, I never knew I wanted to be in a widower or widow community because nobody wants to. But then, and you don't even know it exists till you're in it, which is so interesting, right? Like, this has been going on before us. I think we all know that, right? But then when you get in it, you're like, wow, these people are really special and really cool and unique in so many different ways. And everybody's story is so different. And ours is probably a lot different than y'all's. I met Rachel when I was 20, and I'm 40 now, so 20 years ago, and knew the moment I met her, she was going to be my wife one day. It took me 10 years to convince her to give me a chance, but I kept going after and I actually ended up moving to Hawaii and talked her into coming out and seeing me. So I don't know if it was me or Hawaii that got her, but it didn't matter because she came and she said she fell, and I think she did. And because I think 3 months later we were engaged, and 6 months later we were married. And then we're married for just under 10 years. We were 13 days from our 10-year anniversary when she passed away.
Okay, wait. It took you 10 years to convince her?
Yeah.
That's perseverance, man, or stalking.
Well, you could look at it either way. I dated other people. She dated other people. We all I think we both knew it was just timing was off. We lived in different places. We had different things going on in our lives. When I was with someone, she wasn't. When she was with someone, I was, so it was kind of one of those things where timing was just never right. And I don't regret any of it. I think it all worked out perfectly. And then there was a time where I was in Hawaii and I was like, man, there's no one like her. I compared everyone to her. No one was her. No one brought the fun into my life like she did. No one loved as well as she did. And so at that point, I just knew like it was her or nothing, and it ended up being her. And so she may tell the story a little bit differently, but it
she
was
can't.
She can't. I get to tell the story now, and it was 10 years of a chase that was well worth it for sure.
So you guys basically had a rom-com.
I was just going to say that, like, you need to turn this into a movie.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I've heard that before, but it worked, and it was it was 10 really amazing years of the chase, and then 10 years that I got to have her as my wife too, which was really special.
Now you guys have kids, right? So how old are your kids, and tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah. So Hadley's my oldest little girl. She just turned 10. She just turned 10 in August. Cooper's my second little girl, and she's 8. She'll be 9 in December. And then Macklin is my little man, and he's 6. He'll be 7 in November. And they're all, they're just so special and so, they're so precious. I am so blessed. They are a lot of their mommy. Hadley's had to grow up a lot these last couple of years, which I kind of hate. And I keep telling her, be a kid, be a kid, be a kid. You don't need to be mommy. Like, we got this. But she's just such a protector. Cooper's a beautiful mess, just a disaster most days. And I love everything about that. And she brings so much joy into our lives. If you meet Cooper, you just want to be around Cooper more and more and more. But she toes the line, on, can I get away with this? Whereas Hadley's no, we can't. And then Macklin, he's my little man. He's my guy. He's my best buddy. And it's so much his mommy, and just, there's so much of her in all of them. So it's just such a gift to be able to see that.
This sounds like such a great family, and it's such a bummer that Rachel is not here. I'm so sorry. And I would love to hear you tell us what the RV thing was about.
Yeah, so I told you a little bit before we started, but I was traveling a bunch. I did some public speaking to different companies, and Rachel told me early on that she did not want to have a husband that was on the road all the time. That's not what she was getting into this for. She wanted a partnership. She wanted to do life together. But as a man, I thought providing is what I needed to do, no matter what it took. And so I hit the road and I did what I had to do and was able to give the life we wanted to have. But that's not what she wanted. She wanted a husband that was there and present and watched the kids grow up. And I didn't know that until she voiced that to me, a few times over and over and over again, until finally one day I'll never forget it. I was in St. Louis, Missouri. I was in a hotel room and she said, we're not doing this anymore. And I was like, uh-oh, I don't know what this means. And we have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old at the time. And she said, we're coming with you from now on. Wherever you go, we're going to go. And I was like, I don't know how that works. And she's like, oh, it works. We're going to get a motorhome and that's what we're going to do. And I honestly thought she'd forget about it. Like this was just like, she had a day and it was going to be, I'd come home and it'd be fine. But I came home and she had plans and she had already found a friend that had a motorhome that wasn't using it, that we were going to use for the year. And she had already put our house up and like we were packing it up. Like 6 weeks later, we're in a motorhome. We spent a year on the road and just the most incredible year of my life. I actually, I haven't published anything or anything, but I've written a book on this year because the lessons that I learned from the kids, it was not from me and Rachel being parents, it was from the kids during that year, was just such a beautiful thing when you're just present and you realize that the webinar can wait and the call can wait and this can wait. When you have 40 feet and there's nowhere you can go, there's no office, there's no room. The bathroom is like there, right? Like there's nowhere to go. It was the most beautiful year of my life. And this was before she got sick. So I'm just so grateful for that time that, there was no accident that we did that. And we got to spend a year just in full presence of each other. Because again, there's nowhere to go. And you learn so much about people because in the RV life, there's very different groups of people. Like you're all walks of life coming together. Some are retired and super wealthy. Some they're living in this trailer because they can't live anywhere else, right? And so you're getting all these people in these different campgrounds, and you learn how people are so dang good. And people that you never thought you'd cross paths with, people you'd avoid in the Walmart aisle because you're like, oh, that guy looks a little sketchy or whatever it is. Like they become your neighbors. They become your friends. You start sharing your story with them. You learn so much about people. And again, had it not been for the kids going to talk to these people, I don't know that I would have. Like they taught me so much about people and how amazing they are. And I wish I could do it again. I currently can't. But I heard so many people while we were on the road saying, oh, I want to do that. I wish I could do that. And I said, we'll do it. Like we didn't have any reason we could, we just did. And it was the best feeling or best year of our life by far.
Do you feel like, you said this already, that it wasn't by accident? I feel like that sometimes in my life where things fell into place beforehand that kind of prepared you, or were that a blessing, or were that a blessing? I don't even know what words I just said. Did I say the right words? Anyway,
No.
Things that happened beforehand to prepare you or to allow you to have something special before the world fell apart.
Man, that gives me the chills to think about because I think, and I know y'all probably feel the same way, I bet there are 50 things that happened before Rachel got sick that had to happen for us to be where we were and to be okay. And for one thing, I had private insurance. You don't think about insurance until you need insurance. Like I had private insurance, I was paying out of pocket and it wasn't very good. And we didn't need it during that time. And then I had a company that just crashed. And so I had to actually get a real job for a minute. And then I had good insurance and then Rachel got sick. And you don't think about it. You don't think about because when you're sick, you don't care. Like debt doesn't matter. Nothing matters. All you want to do is get better. And it just didn't matter. But I look at it now and I'm so thankful that business crashed so I could have a real job, to have real insurance to get through that time. Her dad had retired a year before. And so for her parents to be able to just be here for 2 years and just be with us and help us and go through this together. And, I know what it's like to lose a wife. I don't know what it's like to lose a kid. They got to be there and just experience every moment with us. And so all these things that just don't make sense. When your business is crashing, you're like, why is this happening? Oh, I'm so grateful that business sucked and that I had to do something else now. So whatever you're going through right now, there's probably a reason on the other side, and that's what I look at now. And so it's hard for me, when someone's stressing about something, no offense to anyone, that's just kind of stupid because I'm like, when all you're trying to do is survive for 2 years, you're just trying to live to the next day or find the next cure, whatever it may be. You just realize that most stuff is just so stupid that we stress about, that we get into arguments about, that we lose sleep over. And I hope I'll always live that way. I hope I learned the lesson the hard way to be able to continue to live my life with that attitude.
How long after your year of RVing did Rachel get sick?
About 8 months after. So we were in the RV for a year. We had to decide where we were going to go live next because we weren't ready to come back to Knoxville. We just knew we had one more year. We could kind of do whatever we want before the kids started school. And I had an opportunity to come up with the business I'm a part of right now. A couple partners and I have a subscription box business, and the home office was in Omaha, Nebraska. And so they said, would you guys come to Nebraska? And Rachel actually went to University of Nebraska. So she had a lot of connections in Lincoln. So she said, yes, let's go live in Lincoln, which is about an hour from Omaha. And again, not a surprise. I mean, at the time, I'm like, why Nebraska? Like, who goes to Nebraska? Who chooses to go to Nebraska? The coldest place on earth. No, it's the coldest place on earth. But man, the people are so good. The doctors were so good. We needed the doctor we had at the time who knew that we needed this guy. Rachel's parents were 2 hours away in Kansas City. They could be there anytime we needed. Like, all of it made perfect sense once you look back. But so we went to Nebraska, and Rachel got sick in 2018. And when we got the call, she felt a lump under her arm and in her lymph node. And she knew, like, she just said, I just know what this is. And, but was so positive. And, you know, we had friends that had battled breast cancer, and all of them had beat it that we knew personally. Right. And so, like, for us, it was like, okay, this is our hard right now, and we're just going to get through this. Like, it still sucks. The C word sucks and you never want to hear it. But we're like, okay, this is going to be a season that we weren't prepared for, but look at all the things that had to happen for us to be prepared for it, right? And so she killed it. Like, that first bout with cancer, like, there were very few hiccups. I mean, she killed it, and we did all the proactive measures going forward with the double mastectomy and the hysterectomy and all the things to say, let's not get this again. We got a clear bill of health. I mean, they said, like, look, you're good. Like, this is gone. Like, you know, yeah, do your checkups, you know, but this is good. We went on our celebration trip with some friends to Palm Desert and spent a week out there and just partied it up and had a good old time. And, you know, cancer was behind us. That was in April of 2019, where it was behind us. We beat it, right? And which most people do. And that's why when people call me because their wife got diagnosed, most people beat it. Most people are going to be okay. That's the beautiful part about this, right? But it was, you know, God never took it off Rachel's heart that it was going to come back. Like, she always would say that. And it kind of bothered me. I was like, Rach, like, no, you can't live your rest of your life thinking this is going to come back. And she's like, I just don't know that it's gone. You know, I was like, no, I could get it just as easily as you now. Like, it's gone. But sure enough, she started having back pains in August of 2019, like really bad, debilitating back pain. And she knew. She's like, it's back. And I was like, no, this is us getting old. Like, my back hurts too. Like, I mean, literally, I remember this conversation. I'm like, no, it's not. And I was just in denial. And we went back to the doctor, and they found cancer on her spine, which, if you Google that, it's incurable because you can't remove bone, right? You know, like, when it's in your bones, it's in your bones. And so, but even then, it's like people live for 10, 15 years sometimes with that. You know, we believed in miracles. And so we thought, you know, okay, we have time, you know, and then it just kept getting worse. We went everywhere, every professional we could go to all across the country to try to figure out how we could beat this. And it just wasn't getting better, no matter what chemo or radiation or this or that. Then it ended up spreading into her spinal fluid. And then on Christmas Eve, we were at the mall seeing Santa Claus, and Rachel collapsed. And the kids didn't see it. It was such a blessing. Again, the kids were over here and we were over here, and ambulance had to come. We went to the hospital. And soon after that, they had found out, they were able to show that it was in her brain. And there was really no turning back. at that point. We tried everything we could. I beat myself up a lot for not doing more, not going to more experts, not trying to, fight more. And that was a hard thing for me for a while, until I realized I'm not God and it wasn't my battle and I couldn't fix it. And I did everything I could, but this wasn't my battle to win or lose. And in the end, we do believe Rachel won, and Rachel's healed, and Rachel doesn't hurt anymore, and there's no more uncertainty, and there's no more pain, and there's no more appointments, and that she's healed. And we are all believe that in my family, and my kids talk about mommy every day being in heaven. And we talk about mommy with so much joy. It's such a beautiful thing to watch them talk about their mommy and all the great memories. And for a while there was sadness, and there's still a little bit of sadness, but it's much more joy. And that's all due to Rachel and the way she handled it, and the way she prepared us for a season that we had no idea we were going into until we did know, this is where we are. And sooner than later, it's going to be just the four of us. And then one day it was.
How old was she when she died?
It's 38. Yeah, 38 years old.
You're not supposed to die when you're 38 of breast cancer.
Especially when you do everything right. She ate healthy. She never smoked. She drank wine with me at night sometimes. There was nothing. It shouldn't have been her, but it was. And a lot of it doesn't make sense, but then so much of it does. And if any family could handle it, Rachel would always say, we can, and y'all can. And so some families it may have crippled, some families it may have broke, some families may have turned away from God, some family, and now I'm not saying we should be praised for this at all. This was Rachel's thing. We got this, we can handle this. No matter how this ends, we are equipped to do this, which I love that attitude towards it.
So has it been about a year and a half?
Yeah, we just hit a year and a half. September 1st was 18 months. Yeah.
What's it been like parenting without Rachel?
Well, so I think it would have been okay till COVID hit. And then she passed away March 1st, and then March 13th, everything shut. Right. So she prepared me for everything but COVID, right? She didn't know this was coming. But again, man, you talk about oh my gosh. So we spent 39 nights in the hospital before she passed, and the kids came up every day, and people traveled from all over the country to see Rachel and say bye to Rachel. And Rachel witnessed to everyone that came in that room. It was literally the most incredible. I had a front row seat to watch people be transformed. They'd come in and think they were saying bye to Rachel, and Rachel would encourage them, and she'd love on them, and she'd hug them uncomfortably long. She was so well known for just not letting you go. Even doctors, they would come on their day off to be with Rachel, to be ministered to be, it was the most incredible 39 nights. Now I say that because if it would have happened 2 weeks later, no one would have been able to come. I've had friends that have now gone through this with their spouses where no one could go and they couldn't go. And so again, was there any doubt in this timing? No, God's timing's perfect. As weird as it may feel at the time, I don't know what anyone believes here, but for us, the timing was right. And I'm so grateful that it happened the way it did. And that my kids weren't teenagers, that they were at an age where I could still make an impression on them. And I could still say, hey, I think, right?
I'm just wondering if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, well, for me, and that, that leads us to Rachel and I never whispered about what was happening. We told our kids from the beginning, mommy's got cancer. And, as it got worse, we talked about these things, and because I didn't want my kids, if I kept saying, mommy's going to be okay, and then one day she wasn't, why would they trust me when I say anything? And so I'm thinking about my girls as teenagers, and all I want them to do is trust daddy. And had I lied to them, knowing the doctors just told us mommy's not going to make it, mommy's not coming home, I couldn't find it in myself to lie to them when this is how it was going to be. And I think that's helped over this last year and a half, that they just trust me. They trust that daddy's knows what he's doing, and he has our best interest in mind, and he's not going to lead us the wrong way. And so, yeah, it hadn't been the easiest year in the world. But Rachel prepared us, man, she prepared us so well for what was to come. She even had people set up to get the girls' hair done, because I'd never done that before. And she had people set up to get the girls to the dentist, or the kids to the dentist, because I didn't do that. She knew where I was going to be missing it. And she spent her last days making sure that we were okay with the little things that they just wouldn't have gone to the dentist because I wouldn't have thought about it. And they wouldn't have got their hair done because I wouldn't have thought about, things that I just as a dad didn't think about. As present as I was, I still didn't do a lot of those things that mommy did.
You just said that they needed to trust that daddy knows what he's doing. And I'm just curious, do you know what you're doing?
No,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they were teenagers, they'd know I don't know. I think they're at the age where they know, I think this guy's got it figured out. I have no idea what I'm doing. I struggle every day through it. But man, we're a team, and we work through things together. It's not always pretty. Matter of fact, it's ugly a lot, but they are so loved, and people have wrapped their arms around us. And they always say, and I don't know what y'all felt about this, but they said that, well, after the first little bit, people are going to go back to their normal lives and they're going to forget about. I haven't felt that one bit. I feel more loved today than I did the day Rachel passed. People just have loved us, and they've just stepped up in so many ways. And again, that has nothing to do with me. That's all because of the way Rachel loved, and Rachel cared for people so deeply, and everybody thought they were Rachel's best friend. And so when she has 60 best friends, they all want to help you in this season, and they just continue to show up. We are so blessed.
Man, I wish that we could hang out with her. She sounds so amazing. Yeah. Do you feel her around still sometimes?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yes, and everything. Well, and she was a joker too. She was kind of a little prankster. And so the night she passed, I don't know if I've ever told this story. The night she passed, she passed away at 4:34. And I told the kids, I knew it was getting close. And the hardest conversation I ever had was have to tell the kids, when mommy goes home to be with Jesus, daddy gets to come home. Because I hadn't been home for 40 days. I'd been in the hospital every night, right? And so they were excited that at least daddy got to come home. It was kind of a trade-off, right? And so it was 4:34 in the PM. And Rachel's parents were with the kids, and we knew what was happening. And I went and met my parents and my brother and my sister, and we had a drink and just talked about, she had just passed, and what now, and what does this look like? And I came home that night, and I went and kissed all the kids, and they were said, oh, okay, daddy, you're home. And they were like, we're excited you're home. So mommy's in heaven now. And yeah. And so I had the conversation with all these kids, and then Hadley comes down about 3 a.m. and just throws up everywhere. And I don't do puke. The one thing I can't do is puke. I puked all over my bed. She puked all over the bathroom, and I'm dry heaving as I'm trying to clean this. And at one point, I literally just started laughing because I'm like, Rachel, you have got to be kidding me. You are somehow. Hadley wasn't sick. The next day, she was fine. There was nothing, right? And it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. I lose my wife here, and then I got to pick up puke and clean up and so, yes, I still feel her more in good than bad, but I think that night she was like, here, look what you need to be prepared, because it ain't going to be easy without me. You never cleaned up puke in your life, but I'm just getting you started on the right track, And so she's everywhere, man. She shows up, and she protects us, and she shows up in some amazing ways. And we know mommy's around us and is walking us through our days for sure.
I think that she was just trying to get back at you for all the times that she'd cleaned up throw up, and she was like, your turn.
Yeah, you're probably right. She was, to her, that was no big deal. To me, it was, but and I think that's another thing I guess I struggle a lot with too. I don't do sick well. I don't do nursing pain well, where she was just nurse, and she was psychiatrist, and she was therapist, and she was all those things to my kids that I wasn't. I was dad, and I was good cop, and Rachel would be good cop and bad cop. And now I have to be good cop and bad cop. That's really hard for me. And so like all those roles that she played, like she was made, like our house was always clean. And now I have to have someone come do it because I don't know how to do it all the time. I got to pick up all the time. I never did the laundry, and I'm not worthless, but I'm just saying like she just loved doing those things. Right. And so now I do all the laundry and I do the sheets, and I had to put the folded sheet, like the fitted sheet on the first time. And it was really hard for me to figure out without help. And like all these things you don't realize until you have to realize it. So what I'm saying, men, if men listen, be grateful to your wife, and women too. Be grateful to your husband for the things that he does, because you don't know what you don't know till you don't have it. And I can't believe how often she must have cleaned this place, and how often she was doing laundry, and how often she would do all the things that like you turn around and it's a mess. And I don't understand how it happens. But and she did it with such a great attitude. Like I never once heard her complain about, like, she was just
Are you sure Rachel's a real person? I'm starting to think that she's a figment of your imagination. Do you have photographic evidence that she exists?
I do, yeah.
Okay, just
I
checking.
do have a question though. Can you fold the fitted sheet? And if so, can you teach me?
No, I crumple it up, and I've given up. I tried once, and I even YouTubed it. I did a lot of YouTube in that first month, and some things I just gave up on. Most things I gave up on, and we just are kind of a disaster here.
That's so funny. Jason was the one who changed our sheets. And so the first time I had to do the fitted sheet, I was so mad. I was like, this is not my job. Like, this is your job. I hate this job so much. Because you get it on there and then it's like the wrong way. And then you have to pull it back off and then you swear, and it's terrible.
One day it all becomes your job.
It's stupid. Also, the recycling was his job. And every time I take out the recycling, I am mad.
Brandon, you are really open with us. And it's so fun to hear you talk about all these things with Rachel and the kids, and how your journey has been, and your life with Rachel, and now with Rachel on the other side. We were talking a little bit before we hit record about widowers not feeling like they would like to be open about these things. Can we talk about that a little bit? Will you share your perspective on the whys? And let's start that discussion, because more guys need help.
And that's good. I think, and maybe I'm wrong. I think men in general are not as open to talk about their feelings and when they're hurt and when things are hard, because we're supposed to be really tough and we're supposed to be manly. And I'm not saying that I'm not, but I know that I need help, and I struggle, and I suck a lot of times, and I need support, and I'm not afraid to admit that. And I also learned, like, people want to help. Like, people are dying to support and help when you're going through hard. And it doesn't have to be loss. It can be a divorce. It can be a breakup. It can be a kid who's on drugs. It can be whatever it is. Like, we all have our hard. Everyone's going through a hard right now. A sick parent, whatever it may be. And people really want to help, and they want to show up. And a lot of times they don't know how to show up, and they don't know what to do, and they don't know what to ask. What I tell people now is just do something, because avoiding it and not talking about it, that doesn't help. That's actually a lot more awkward when I see you the next time, that you just avoided the whole fact that my wife passed away. Like, let's just, even a message, and I'm sorry, or, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking of you, whatever it is. Like, those that just showed up without asking anything, I am forever indebted to. And those that continue to show up without asking and just do, not expecting anything in return, not expecting me to have a thank you card for them, not expecting me to post it on Facebook that, oh, look at what they did. Like, just the people just loving people well. And that's what Rachel did her whole life. She showed up well. And so I've just learned I can't do it alone. And so if I have to speak up, then good. And more than that, I think that I want to be a voice for those that still have their spouse around, because I want you to realize how lucky you are. And tomorrow that could change. And it doesn't have to be a 2-year battle with cancer. It can be a motorcycle accident. It can be walking across the street. It can be a heart attack. It can be, like, you just don't know. And so try to appreciate and love and and understand how good you have it till you don't have it. And so if my story can say, oh, he had a healthy 38-year-old wife that then one day wasn't, that could be me. Maybe I should appreciate what I have. Maybe I should be really good to what I have. Maybe I should spend time with what I have. Then that's, I don't know if I answered your question, but like, that's kind of my stance. Like, be better to your people today.
Or you might find yourself having to put the fitted sheet on the bed.
That's exactly, nobody wants to do that.
Do you feel like before Rachel died, did you feel like you were more willing to access and talk about your feelings, and so this is just an extension of that? Or was that something that changed when she died and you were like, I'm in over my head, I need help?
That's a really good question, and no one's ever asked that. Yeah, well done. Well done. Mel, you're up next. You come up with a good one.
Oh, I'm working on it.
No, I've always written a lot and put things out there, but it was mainly about kids and learning from kids and different things that had happened, from our kids. I think this calls me to really be in touch with life. I hurt, and this is hard. And honestly, before this happened, I don't know that we dealt with a hard that was this, right? I mean, we had financial difficulties, or we had like these little things which are a big deal. Like, before you lose someone, financial problems are a big deal. Before you lose someone, marital problems are a big deal. Before you lose someone, like, those are all a big deal. So I don't ever want to discount those things. But I think this was such a hard, in a season of 2 years of this, that we talked early on. We said, are we public with this or are we private with this? And there's no right or wrong. Like, no matter what we decide to do, there's no right or wrong. For us, we went public for a couple of reasons. One, we wanted as many people to pray for us as it would. And I figured the more that are praying, the better. So let's get it out there. And two was for awareness, because Rachel was healthy one day and then one day she wasn't. And I can't tell you how many people have messaged me that they've been proactive and they've had their mammograms and they've done the things they need to do because of Rachel. And so if we can cause someone else to catch it early, then kudos to us for actually talking about it.
I have a question, and I'm not sure if it will beat Anita's question, but that's fine because she likes to win.
I do.
Got it.
Yes.
Are you a proponent of therapy?
Gosh, that's such a good question.
Thank you. Yes.
So I am. So that's a really good question, because one of my daughters is in therapy. Hadley's in therapy. Hadley loves therapy and looks forward to her therapy. Cooper wanted to have nothing to do with it. Cooper will talk to me about everything. Hadley won't. So Hadley needed that extension on a different voice and a different person to sit there and talk to. Cooper, she's an open book. She'll tell me how she's feeling, and you always know how she's feeling.
While she's trying to light the house on fire.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly right. And so, and Macklin, I think, was a little too young. I mean, Macklin was, 4.5 or just turned 5 when Rachel had passed. And so, he's already lived a third of his life, a quarter of his life without her. Right. And so it's a little different. And for me, so I did a little bit early on, and I had never done therapy before. So I didn't know what I was walking into. And I don't know if there's client privileges or whatever, or I don't know what you call it, but he said, you don't seem to need this anymore after like two sessions, because I just talked about it. Like I wasn't holding it in. So I actually only did a couple sessions with him, and my therapy is in my writing and putting things out there and talking. This is therapy for me. Being able to tell Rachel's story and just talk about her and talk about what we're struggling with and what we're dealing with. But I didn't need someone on a couch to do that for me. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because again, for Hadley, it's exactly what she needs. And for some, I think it's absolutely what you need. And some people tell me I have to have more. I guess some people think there's things wrong with me still, and there probably is. But for me, I feel like I'm in a really good place, and the validation from that therapist saying, you're okay. Like, come see me if you feel this or you need this or whatever. But I haven't longed for that. I've, as long as I can write and put it out there and talk about it with people like y'all, that's my therapy.
So do you get many widowers reaching out to you?
No, I don't. Very few. Much more widows
Wait, how are they reaching out to you?
Not sliding into DM type thing. So they're just open to talk, and they're struggling, and they're grieving, and they're, and so I've become dear friends with a handful of widows that have become my people, and it's precious, and I love them, and I adore them, and I hurt for them, and we all lost our spouse in different ways, and so every story is different. And one of my best friends lost her husband a month ago with a heart attack, and he's 38 years old, and one minute he's there, the next minute he's not. And I'm at his funeral a couple of weeks ago, and I just hurt so much for them. Like I always say that, like, we had 2 years to prepare. I don't know y'all's stories, but I don't know how people do it when they didn't have that, when they didn't get to say bye, and their kids didn't get to say bye. And so that to me, I can't fathom. I'm so blessed I had 2 years, even though it was painful to watch and I couldn't fix it. And it was a struggle many, many days. Man, we got to say bye and we got to prepare, and I don't know how. So yeah, but no, to answer your question, maybe I've heard from 3 widowers.
Yeah, that sounds like on brand as far as a ratio of what we've found too, like as far as how many widowers participate or are willing to reach out. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
We have asked many people if they would trade a sudden death for a long-term death. And I've been really surprised that almost nobody would switch. Mm-hmm. So Mel and I both had sudden deaths. Like, our husbands were alive and then they were dead. And we've interviewed tons of people who've had cancer deaths, and nobody would switch. So there's really no good answer to how to die.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, your story is your story. And I wouldn't, do I want Rachel back? Yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't trade the story for anything, because this is just how it was going to be. And I'm glad I had 10 years with her. I'm glad my kids got the time they got with her. I'm glad all her friends got the time. Their parents had 38 years with her. Like, we are so lucky. And I wish I would have got to meet her, because even to have 10 minutes with Rachel was such a special time.
I want to ask you a practical question.
Okay.
So I'm a mom. I have 4 kids, and I have often imagined if Jason, my husband's named Jason, if he would have lived and I would have died. And I think that for men in our culture, men are generally seen as the breadwinner and the person who has to provide for the family. And I feel like being a widower would come with some real stresses in a really practical way. Like, now you're supposed to still take care of your family financially, and you're thrown into all of the childcare as well, without the benefit of being able to have feelings. How do you work and take care of your kids and do all of these? How do you do it?
And lots of grace from a lot of people. I mean, from the school teachers understanding my situation to, like, their my company. Like, I didn't work for 7 months. I didn't do a thing when she was sick and got really sick, and then we were in the hospital. And then 3 months after that, I didn't do a thing. And my paycheck kept coming. My business kept growing. Even when I was ready to come back, a few months after Rachel passed, my business partners were like, you can take more time. And, any time that my kids get off the bus at 2:52 every day, and I'm done. Like, I don't do anything else for work. Like, that's because work starts then. Like, the true work starts when the kids get off the bus. Like, and we have to get everything together, and then we have to do homework, and we have to do snacks, and then we have to get to bed or dinner in bed at some point. And so, like, it's just grace. People have given me so much grace, and have just loved on us so well, that, again, it's a struggle and it's ugly a lot of days, but I'm grateful for the people that surrounded us and have continued to surround us. And I think, again, I'll go back to Rachel, just loving people so well while she was here. And if you learn nothing from this, you might want to love people well, just in case something happens to you, because people will be there to help.
Just in case you die.
just in case you die, you should really be good to people, because, I haven't felt it. I mean, there are so many hard days, and there's so many times like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to do this. But most days are good, and most days are okay. And most days have a lot more laughter and joy in them than sadness and down times. Again, we got to prepare for it. So it was what we knew was coming. But would Rachel do a much better job than I'm doing? Absolutely. No doubt about that. And would the kids probably be happier with her than me? Probably so most days. But they got the short straw. I'm here. They're stuck with me. And I'm super valuable now to them because they need one of us. And so if it's going to be one of us and it had to be me, they need me around. So I'm going to stick around for a while.
Since you and Rachel had that 2 years to discuss things and go on that journey together, did she have any, not plans, but did she have any wishes for you as far as what your life would look like after she passed away with finding somebody else?
Yeah, that's another great question. That might be two for Mel, and I'm just kidding.
Also, I asked the fitted sheet question, so I have 3. Thank you. Anita, you got 2 more.
That's another, like, Rachel's intuition was incredible, because after we had Macklin, my plan was to get snipped. Like, I didn't want any more kids. She didn't want any, like, we were done with that. And she wouldn't allow me to do it because she said, what if something happens to me? What if something happens to me and you want to have kids? And I said, well, even if something happens to you, I don't want to have any more kids. I'm good with my 3. That's what she's like, but your next wife might want to, just in case. Like, this was like where she was. I'm like, you're so weird. Like, don't say stuff. Like, that is so stupid. So that being said, when she did get sick, and then when she got really sick, she was like, absolutely, you find love again. And you find those kids a mommy that will love them and that will take good care of them, and someone that will love you and take good care of you. And she shared that with her parents. So her parents were super open to me moving on one day, which made that a lot easier. I don't know if y'all are dating or anything, but I know when you do start dating, if you do, it's always too soon for some people. And some people think it should never happen, and you're not going to please everybody. But for me, knowing that Rachel had said, you absolutely, it was actually our last date night we had in the hospital. We went and got popcorn at the movie theater so she could watch a movie in her bed, and she wanted movie theater popcorn, and we had a date night, and that's what we talked about. We talked about just moving on, and that I had her blessing. She said, let's not do it 2 weeks from now, but maybe 6 months, 8 months, whatever that may be. She said, absolutely, you need to be happy. And
what a lame date. I mean,
yeah, wasn't that awful? Yeah.
Talking about death with popcorn and go get remarried.
But isn't that the way to do it with popcorn, if you're going to do it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then she said, I told you shouldn't get snipped. Like, that was her, like, one of her final last things. Right. And so she was always the jokester, but she supported that. And I don't know if I'd have been that way. I don't know that I would have been that selfless. I can't tell you that I would have been like, please go find someone else that's going to take care of you and, my kids. But that's where she was.
Maybe she's just worried about how you're going to take care of her kids.
It could have been that too. It could have been a lot of that.
Rachel sounds like she had a shorter life on the planet because she just knew how to live and was such a good example for everybody around her. And like, she's done, and she left this legacy and these examples and these people so that they can then pass that on too. What an amazing lady. And it shows that you are also amazing, Brandon, because you were part of Rachel. I mean, and yeah, good team.
That's why I chased her. That's why I chased her for 10 years, because I knew she was amazing. You're right. I've never heard it said that way. Like, her work was done. Like, she loved so well and so hard for 38 years and gave everyone everything. The most selfless person as she lived and as she died. She was so selfless, and what a legacy she has left, because she loved people so well, and people have continued to want to love more like Rachel did, and it's been beautiful to watch.
Stupid death.
I'm still bummed out that we don't get to hang out there. But how in the world would we even know about Rachel if she had not died? You know what I mean?
And that is the conundrum of this whole podcast.
Yes.
We wouldn't even know there was a Brandon Janous in Knoxville, Tennessee, who we needed to talk to.
Okay. Anita, do you have any more questions? Because I have the question.
I don't know if you get to ask the question because you've had 3 good questions.
All right. Well, everybody, I'm going to let Anita ask the question since I have had so many good questions and she needs to catch
she's
up.
winning the questions. Brandon, this is the most important question. If you answer it wrong, you are struck from our presence.
So nervous.
I know, you should be. What is your favorite cheese?
Oh, that's easy. It's habanero jack, like spicy cheese. Like that's what I had for last night. It was like that and crackers all day long.
You have passed the test. You are not thrown from the bridge.
That is for sure the right answer. So I don't know what else, but they're wrong.
We get a lot of pepper jacks.
But yeah, pepper jack's right there, but habanero a little bit spicier.
Yeah.
People don't say Swiss, do they?
We've never had a Swiss, have we, Mel?
Not one time. Because it's gross.
Because those people you never invite. Yeah, I think you defriend. I love people well, but when it comes to cheese, if Swiss is your favorite, you're out on me.
That's like my dad, it's his favorite cheese. And
Your
I'm
dad
like,
also loves raisins, so something is broken in his
is
self.
Swiss cheese a boomer thing?
That sounds like an old man thing. I feel like that's an old raisins and Swiss cheese. That's for sure an old man thing.
Yeah.
Your dad's great. I can't wait to.
Oh, you would
say
love
hi.
him. He's amazing.
Yeah,
But
awesome.
one time he was like, to my husband that is dead, my husband loved chocolate so much, like addicted to it. It probably contributed to him dying. And my dad's like, Scott, did you know that the most popular cookie among men is oatmeal raisin and not chocolate chip? And we were like, Dad, where did you get this information? And Scott's just like, I'm not going to say anything. My dad's 73. It's like, just you let him talk. It's all good.
Yeah, that's so good.
That is, like, so not true. I just can't imagine.
It's because
that
he
being
made
true.
it up in his mind. That's my dad.
It's an old people thing. Old people like different food.
They like Boston baked beans. They like.
I like Boston baked beans, remember?
Well, you're also a boomer.
Yeah.
I love the
guess.
boomers, but you know.
I'm old too, though. I'm old. I'm getting there. I'll probably start liking raisins and Swiss cheese before you know it.
Ooh.
I don't know about the Swiss cheese. I like Swiss cheese on a sandwich. I'm not opposed to it.
If there's nothing else available.
There's truly okay. Goat cheese, are you a yay or a nay?
If there's nothing else available.
Okay, blue cheese, yay or nay?
On my wedge salad, blue cheese crumbles, yes. But
Okay.
like just to eat, no.
This is like the polarizing cheeses that we've just gone through.
Yeah, that was
Very
good.
important. Okay.
I can see why y'all have had 100 episodes.
We ask the hard-hitting questions.
People have to wait to find out, though, what the final question answer was.
And then sometimes we forget to ask people because we have widow brain. So
Yeah, but we remember to ask you.
Well, thank y'all for this. This has been amazing.
Brandon, thank you so much for joining us and being not yet another, just another voice for the widower community. We appreciate you giving us some time. And we hope everybody has found this episode to be helpful. You can find Brandon on Instagram, right? What's your Instagram name? Is it just your name?
Brandon Janous. I'm the only Brandon Janous in the world. So Janous.
And we will link to that in the show notes if you are interested in following him and you don't know how to spell Janous.
Thank you.
You can do it there. Remember to check out the Widow Wives Club on Facebook. Answer all the questions, including agreeing to the group rules. We really, really won't let you in if you don't answer the questions, and it makes us sad.
I know. It's the worst. But that's why our group is so fun.
Yes, because we make sure we all belong. And then if you want to keep the podcast going, check out the Patreon. It's patreon.com/WWDN.
If you want to buy us tacos, check out buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonoww.
And until we get to talk to you again, I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Brandon.
We're just 2 young widows and 1 widower who was married to a figment of his imagination. And we're trying to figure out, whoa, what do we do now? Finn's upset about something.
This is my favorite thing to discuss with you.
Tell me, what is it?
One of my favorite things. I do enjoy tacos and cheese and dogs. This is about how you cannot pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a phone plan, especially when you're a widow, your person is dead, you might have kids, you might need another option, and you just want your phone to work, you want unlimited texting and service, and you want it to be like $25 a month.
It blows my mind that they have plans that start at $15 a month. That is so cheap. And the cool thing is it uses other 5G networks, and so you don't have to pay extra for that, and you still get great service.
Yep, Anita and I have traveled all over, and I have used my phone. So I highly recommend it. And my mom's even on it. When my dad died, we put his phone down to the cheapest plan, which is $15 a month. And I think my mom's on the $20 a month plan, and it's so worth it. It's so much cheaper than what we were all paying before. So I highly recommend it if you're on a budget or not. Who cares? Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the company, and they send you free stickers with Ryan Reynolds temporary tattoos. It's kind of the best. So if somebody wants to sign up, what can they do, Anita?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. Seriously, you guys, such a great idea. Save yourself some money.
And if you're worried about losing data or having any changes with your phone, not going to happen. They walk you through it. Everything's fine. It's the easiest process of all time. Again, that's
trymintmobile.com/WWDN.